guys, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Carol Tichie Karibu, and in today's video we'll be doing a thrift transformation. Yes, I bought this oversized knit top sometime last year. I loved the detailing and the fabric looked like it's still in good condition. I wanted something loose, something comfy, and that made me gain weight because I didn't realize I was gaining weight because I was so comfy. But right now I want to transform it because it's not cutting out for me anymore. The first thing I do is flip my top over to the wrong side, lay it down and start measuring. At first I measured half up, half down, but I quickly realized that I'll need extra inches for my bottom because I'm putting in a waistband. So I added an inch from the top, and after drawing a straight line across, I separated the bottom from the top. Starting with the top now, I am carving out the neckline. I wanted a drooping neckline, but in hindsight, I feel like I should have just left the neckline as it is. I fold it into half so that I can get an accurate measurement for both sides. And for the top, we'll be stitching where we have cut. I'll be using a pattern for the bottom. Now this pattern, I use it to make tights like bottoms. I made my yellow jumpsuit using this pattern. You can also use your favorite fitting pants or shorts to make this bottom part. You always have to ensure that the back curve is higher than the front curve because you have to accommodate the booty. So when I'm cutting it out, I'm giving myself some extra allowance because I don't want it to fit like tights. I want it a little bit loose like shorts, you know. Next, I remove the pins to separate the pattern from the fabric and begin pinning down where I want to stitch, which are along the crotch lines. Once I'm done stitching, I proceed to press open my seams. Now it's important to do this if you want a nice looking garment. I use my hot press iron to do this, then proceed to overlocking for nice finish. Next, I align the inner seams from the back to the front and then stitch those down. It's important to ensure that the center point align or match. So I do that and then make sure that the bigger part, which is usually the back, is laying down on the machine and then the front is at the top. Once that is done, I press open the seam and overlock to finish. And since I won't be hemming these shorts because they are already hemmed, I'll just tie a knot with the overlock stitches and then top stitch the seam for a nice finish. So the final part for this pair of shorts is attaching the waistband. Now, first things first, ensure that the seam is laying flat on the right direction. I'll be using this 5-inch, okay, not 5-inch, 2-inch elastic band. I ended up cutting it 4 inches below my normal waistline measurements just to give it a bit of a stretch. And then I stitched the seams, opened it up and top stitched each side for a nice finish. Next, I align my waistline to the elastic and I do this in 4s. So I divided each in quarters and then aligned them just to make sure that everything is equal. It's important, by the way. I won't be straight stitching these two pieces together. Instead, I'll be overlocking them together. This helps with stretch as well as starting off the finishing process. After finishing up all that process, I realized I attached this elastic band the wrong way. Yani. I had to cut it off and start all over again. So this time I'm laying it the way I want it done when it's finished. So I'm working my way backwards. I'll do the same thing I did before, lay it out in 4s and then proceed to overlocking. So once all of that is done, you can see now the waistband folds very nicely. Yeah, the first one was a disaster. Now that we've done all the pinning, next we stitch straight stitch throughout the waistband, pulling it and making sure that it's straight and ensuring that everything is flat. And once I complete this process, I'll have a nice looking waistband. Moving on to the top, and I want to make bias binds just to finish off the neckline from this scrap fabric. I lay them down nicely just to ensure that I get the most out of this fabric because I don't have a lot. And I use the width size of this ruler, and that is how I get like the right measurement for the bias bind. I cut them out and stitch them together just to have a one long continuous bias bind. Next, I measure the neckline and then I measure my bias band, ensuring that it's at least 2 inches less than my neckline. This will ensure that the bias does bring in the neckline in a bit instead of stretching it out. I locate the midpoints of both the neckline and the bias band and pin them together before I start stitching. The neckline is moving from raw edge to nicely finished. Now to finish off the bias, I just fold it into 2. This is the first fold and then this is the second fold. And for the second fold, I ensure that the bias is laying on the actual garment before stitching. I'm going to fold the hemline into 2 just to give it some weight so that it can fall much better. And I'm also going to press it the way I pressed the neckline so that it can lay nice, flat and beautiful. So let's quickly remind ourselves of how the top looked like before the transformation. And this is the transformation. A few things that I would do differently is to put a fabric on top of the garment while pressing, just to avoid all the shine. And I'll also make the elastic band bigger so that it doesn't dig into my waist. But other than that, I love it, love it, love it! Okay guys, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and I'll see you on the next one. Mwah!